All right. Welcome, Red Zone DFS. Joe James, what's going on?
We're ready, man.
Happening.
What's happening? We're ready for another week of wins. Stay
Another
in the
week.
positive. Stay in the positive.
Yeah, it wasn't quite as lucrative for the pod last week as the week before. I think that we set the bar pretty high in week 8. But for me, I pretty much broke even last week. Like, I think it was a fine week. Nothing spectacular, but I also didn't go belly up. So it's never a loss when you're playing 100% GPPs.
Yeah, no, I had gains. Played about 150 bucks, 150. So I got a 33% little interest there, so it's not too bad. And any other gambling, you'd be very happy with that. I'm just going for the big wins. So a little disappointed, but happy I get more cash to put in more lineups this week.
Yeah. And I think it's overall, like, we were all on a lot of really good guys. We were talking all throughout Sunday. It was like, we had a lot of hits last week, but I think some of those, like, one or two guys, in each lineup just kind of busted or was very average, or Justin Jackson, hurt his whatever in pregame warmups, and it didn't.
Justin fucking Jackson.
And it didn't leak until the lock of the afternoon games. And luckily, he was like 30% owned, but
yeah, he was still 30% owned in my
no one knew.
Nobody knew.
It happened like right before game time. Like nobody knew.
And so I thought I read that he played like a play or two.
He did. I'd see him on the field. I'd be like, "Oh my god, he's in!" And then like he'd be out the next play.
That's just the most crushing. Like, if you're on Twitter, like whatever, and right before the game or like the game's lock, you're feeling good about your lineups. Like, you got 3-4 guys going, and then you see the news break that like Justin Jackson's out. It's like, wait, did I just read that? Like that really just ruined my afternoon.
And he was definitely one of my favorite plays last week too. So that didn't help.
Yeah, he was popular. I did fine last week. I think I made about 110 bucks. That's with the Justin Jackson debacle. But you can't. I mean, we're not going to win GPPs every week. You just churn and burn and keep going, and here we are in the next week. And think we got a pretty good slate here, so I'm excited to hop into it here.
Yeah, I'm happy about this week. It seems like everyone's gonna have to get a little more creative this week. So hopefully the randoms aren't coming up at the top of the leaderboards this week and just getting lucky. So
yeah, well, and at least from what I can gather, what's going to be the most popular build obviously is going to be the Packers with Aaron Jones and Devante Adams, and Mike Davis is your free square this week with McCaffrey out. So why don't we just start there? We have two guys, Jim, with running backs. What do we got kind of rocking for ownership, and then what's kind of the strategy we're going to go with here?
Yeah, so obviously you've got Mike Davis coming in at about 55% ownership.
I honestly think that's going to go way up too.
I think it could go down, and we could talk about it a little bit later, but I think there's a couple guys around the 5,000 mark that I think a lot of ownership could gravitate to. And if it doesn't, those are going to be guys that I'm going to be probably trying to get to. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we got Mike Davis. DraftKings, they've been doing a really good job all year, right? But McCaffrey comes back, looks like he's good to go, and they priced Mike Davis at $4,000, and now here we are. McCaffrey's probably not going to play this week out of abundance of caution, and Mike Davis is going to be 55% owned. Mm-hmm. Next highest running backs, we got Aaron Jones in a smash matchup, 29 to 33%. Kamara, the next one down, playing the Niners at about 22 to 23%. And then from there, you've got Miles Sanders all the way down at 15%.
Everyone really drops off kind of under 10 about, give or take.
Yeah, and then Duke Johnson is the other one that I was talking about at 5,000 at 14%. In a great matchup, in a great game script, I think. That's the guy that I was just talking about that, if Mike Davis ownership continues to climb, I'm fine just playing with Duke Johnson because there's nobody behind him.
Yeah.
Right. He's going to catch the ball. It's going to be a good game script for him. They're going to have to pass. So
is it for sure David Johnson's not going to play this week? Or is he just in his concussion protocol right now?
He still was not out of the protocol.
He's doubtful. And everything I was reading today is he's more on the side of like already out. I don't know why they really haven't ruled him out already. I'll take a look and see here.
Yeah, concussions can be tricky. Like they pass that Saturday protocol and they're good to go.
Well,
that's what always kind of worries me.
I think they from everything it sounds like to have a legit shot, he's got to clear in practice tomorrow. If that doesn't happen, like he's probably not playing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I would almost be okay with him being cleared to play, and then I would still just play Duke Johnson, and his ownership would just go through the floor.
Yeah.
Right. Or have it be like a game time decision type thing. Cause then I think a lot of people would hop off of Duke Johnson and say, well, you know, David Johnson's going to play. But you know, I mean, it is what it is. Right. I think Aaron Jones, obviously out of my high owned guys is going to be my favorite play. He's in a smash spot, 29% owned. That's fine. I can get weird other spots, kind of dropping down a little bit. Guy that was in an absolute smash spot last week and just went belly up as the rest of the team did, is James Conner. I'm looking on this ownership projection and I can't see him anywhere. He burned people last week. He's in another great matchup this week. It's time to just go right back to James Conner. He's just going to get the touches. He was getting touches
Big Ben's
last
battling
week.
COVID with his double knee injuries and God knows what else. The boot came back out. And
yeah, Ben's going to play. He's tested negative every day.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm just like, I don't know if they're going to lean on Ben in a game where they should automatically win and play defense and run the hell out of the ball, right?
That's what we heard last week.
Yeah. So
well, last week with Connor, the big thing you can just tell they were resting him.
I'm talking about leaning on the run game and all that. Like, I mean,
right.
That game was close in the fourth quarter.
But they weren't even playing Connor. Like, they were like, we'll just give him a break this week. Like, they fucking laid flat from their game plan. But we talked
about that with Benny Snell and some of those other guys in the mix. Like, there's just so many mouths to feed there.
Yeah, and that's why I stayed off Connor. You know, but I mean, I don't even think he got 10 carries last week.
Yeah.
No, so I'm going back to Connor. Dropping down a little bit more as a guy who's probably one of my favorite plays of the week is James Robinson. Again, in a negative game script last week, he still had like 25 touches. It was unbelievable. Got there. He was a top 5 running back scoring wise for the week. So I'll be going right back to James Robinson. Again, the theme that I'm kind of following this year is guys that are going to get the work, right? Guys that are going to get all of the work, or, 90% of it, 85% of it. He falls into that category for me. I'm just going to take him there. I like DeAndre Swift this week. I think it's a good matchup for him. He's a guy that I'm not going to be like go crazy on, right? But I'm going to get there. Antonio Gibson, again, another one that I like.
Yeah, and everybody's so like blown up with like McKissick because he got the 14 targets. Like,
he's been getting that. Honestly, like he's been getting that a lot. Every time they're down, they just put McKissick in, and their quarterbacks aren't good.
Well, you have Captain Checkdown back in, so
exactly. So I mean, here's the thing. I think you could probably play both of them, and you're fine, just in different lineups, right? The Potatoes really don't have a slot, like a true slot receiver. So McKissick just kind of becomes that. They don't have a very good tight end. I mean, Logan Thomas, everyone wants to talk about him every week, but he doesn't do anything, right?
Yep.
And then they have McLaurin, right? So McKissick has really kind of been their slot receiver. And then, I mean, we all know what Alex Smith does, right? He just checks the ball down habitually. So, like, that's fine with me. Like, I'm going to play McKissick in a couple lineups. I think it's more than fine to get to him. Guy that I'm going to fade this week. He's coming off an injury. He's in a pretty good spot. Nick Chubb. For the price, I don't know if he's going to split time. They're probably going to ease him back in a little bit and give Kareem Hunt some run. So for the exact same price, I'd rather just play James Robinson for a guy that I know is just going to get all of the carries, and there's just going to be zero questions about it. I mean, look, Nick Chubb's ownership is pretty low, but him and Robinson are right there, 7-8%. So out of those two, that's where I'm just going to go, okay, well, I'll just go with the guy that's getting the volume. So Chubb is really going to be my fade this week. That's kind of where I'm going for right now.
All right.
Joe?
Yeah, I'm gonna build a few lineups. Just Jones and Connor. That's how I'm gonna start building my lineup with just those two. I'm gonna eat the ownership with Jones. We ate the ownership with McCaffrey last week, and guess what? McCaffrey went absolutely nuts. Even if you didn't have McCaffrey, you weren't getting in the money. So I'll eat Jones at 28-30%. I mean, he is a slate breaker, so definitely gonna grab him. Connor, smash spot against Cincinnati again. I think last week was more of a rest week for him, so he's ready to go. He barely even touched the ball last week. You're right, Jim Robinson. He's getting all the touches. You can tell they're kind of easing him in as the season started, and now they're saying, you know what? Let's see if this guy can handle the rock 25 times a game. Full go. Even their team is not that great. I mean, their defense is not that great, but their offense is actually formidable with Luton. Let Luton free. So
God,
We'll
so
see.
bad.
So-
I'll touch on that later.
But someone I really like, the Arizona Buffalo game is definitely an interesting game this week to go super high scoring and just, battling out for touchdowns. I feel like Edmonds is finally at the price point he should be at. At 6,300, I feel more comfortable playing Edmonds. When he was up at 68, 7,000, I had a hard time getting there with him. But at 6,300, I feel like I got to have a lot of Edmonds. I really like Gibson. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
So that's another case like where he falls into the book of Connor, where he burned a lot of people last week. I mean, he got like 11.5 points, which is okay, right? But everyone was thinking, oh my God, he's in such a smash spot. He's going to get 20 to 25 again. That's another spot where people just get kind of turned off and they'll go away from him. So I like that Edmonds call quite a bit, Joe.
Thank you. I really like Gibson. And you're right. The whole McKissick thing, he's going to get those touches, but Gibson's still getting 17 to 18 carries a game minimum. They're playing against the Detroit Lions, this game is just going to be weird. So I really like Gibson in this. A guy I'm targeting this week is Phillip Lindsay at 5,000. I know he's sharing carries there in Denver, but again, we've talked about it. The Las Vegas Raiders cannot stop running backs. So whoever's going to be getting the ball, Lindsay definitely is in a spot to get some touchdown, get some red zone targets, and get a lot of touches this week. So I'm not going to play a ton of Lindsay, but I'm definitely going to sneak him in as some GPPs every now and again. The whole Davis thing, obviously at 4,000, but if he's above 50%, I almost want to just cross my fingers and hope he lays a fucking dud. And which he won't completely lay a dud. Obviously, he's going to get his money's worth, but over 50%, if he does lay that dud, I want to be on the other side of that. The Bucs defense, they got the best run defense in the NFL. You were saying it a couple of weeks ago, Jim. Mike Davis, he's old, he's breaking down, he's not quite where he was weeks 1 through 5. I know we got the week off last week and with McCaffrey in, but I don't know. I'm a little scared of Mike Davis. Another guy I'm like willing to go really down for, and I know you guys hated on this last week, but he ended up getting me 16 points and getting me some money was Gallman for the Giants. I know he's going against the Eagles and they got a strong run defense, but Devontae Freeman practiced today and he hurt his ankle again at practice and he's out. So Wayne Gallman's going to get 15 plus carries and possibly catches. Deion Lewis, he does not carry the ball. He only gets catches on third downs. So I'll take Gallman. He got me a sneaky, 1 yard rushing touchdown last week. And again, that's what did it for me. So I do like Gallman, especially all the way down there at 4,500. And that's where I'm looking this week.
It's not a bad call because, sure, Mike Davis probably has more upside, but if he does bust, you're essentially paying the same price for a guy like a Duke Johnson, 1,500. That could be equal. Or if Mike Davis busts and you get 12 or 14 out of him, and you're way ahead of the field because you have that edge now. With ownership. So
yeah.
All right.
Gallman, I had him in one last week, and again, he got me on the brink of getting in the money. So I feel like I had to ride him again, especially with Freeman not playing this week.
I think that Gallman is a guy for me when I look through the slate this week is somebody that I'm not looking to maybe go rush and build a lineup with.
No.
But if he's going to fit into what I'm trying to do, we were talking a little bit earlier. We'll touch on it later. There's a lot of receivers we like that are really high priced this week. You're going to have to go down somewhere. Mike Davis, I looked at it. He already played Tampa once this year, right? Week 2, he got 15.5 points. The shitty thing with him being only $4,000 is that 15.5 points is almost 5x, right? It's 4x. So, man, it's just one of those things. I like the Gallman call, $500 more, and he could probably get you that 10 to 15.
So
And
last
you
week,
you just really have to hope, if you don't play Davis, you just have to hope that Davis doesn't go for like 25, or else
exactly. And Gallman the last 3 weeks, so he's gone for 16.4 against Philly, 13.2 against Tampa, and then 14.7 against Washington. All really strong run defenses, and he's 4,500. I feel like I got to get in on this. He went from 10 carries to 12 carries to 14 carries consecutively. Freeman's not playing again. He's going to get the touches this week. So
no, it's pretty.
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it.
And I'm kind of in there with you guys. I like Jones and Robinson up top. If I'm going way down, again, it'll be a Mike Davis, Duke Johnson type of thing, unless I'm trying to get weird and different in my lineup. I really don't have a lot of interest in Gio. He's at 5,400 at that point where it's starting to cost a little bit, and he's playing Pittsburgh. So
yeah, like I'd rather just play Duke Johnson at that point.
Yeah, for sure. So I have no real interest in Gio. I do really like I like Edmonds a lot because I think that game is going to shoot out. And even if Drake comes back, Edmonds is the pass catching back. Like, he's the guy. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago, right? When he was playing that Sunday game or Monday game, I think.
Yeah.
He's going to be the guy in up-tempo games. So give me the Edmonds at 63. Two guys I'll just touch on real quick that you guys didn't hit on that I am going to play some. Miles Sanders at 6,400 right now in today's NFL is probably a top 10 back if he's healthy. And the Eagles are getting healthy again. This is the right time for him. The Eagles had no problems really with the Giants defense last time. I know it was a sloppy game, but they put up some points, and I think they'll lean on Sanders pretty heavy to like take some of that pressure off Wentz, who's just been heaving the ball and keeping him like barely alive in this race.
I like that.
Miles Sanders at 6,400, especially if he's going to be like 5% or under in the ownership. Like, hell yeah, I'll be all over that.
He's coming in at like 15% right now. But okay. But that's still fine.
Yeah, you're still okay there because he'll catch a few balls. He's gonna get the touches. So I like that. And then I think one sneaky play that I'm gonna play if he is in is Chris Carson at 6,200. That's a game that's supposed to shoot out. It's a way to kind of get some leverage off of that. The chalk passing game there, and very easily the Carson.
Not so chalk,
2 in,
my friend. Not so chalk, my friend. Seattle's Russ and DK are coming in below 10%, and Lockett's coming in around like 15.
Yeah.
It's way chalkier than you thought it was going to be. I was going to bring this up later, but you already got me here.
I don't get it.
Seattle is my favorite GP play this week. The Los Angeles Rams are the biggest frauds in the entire NFL right now, and
100%.
Nobody.
I'll let you go.
Nobody.
You just take it into receiver, but I think that game is going to be sneaky. Like, people are going to start moving on to that. So, but go ahead.
I hope they don't start moving on to it. I hope only our listeners move on to it.
Get us going at receiver and start at Devante because he's at an absurd 9K.
So I really like Devontae. No, it's not. And the thing is you got to. I feel like there's always one guy in that 9K range. It's either McCaffrey, right? It can be Dalvin. It could be Devontae. Again, these guys are slate breakers, and some of your GPPs, I feel like you got to take a shot on Devontae if you can fit him in there, especially with some of these running backs we just listed for you guys. We can get really cheap, and there's a lot of really cheap receivers as well. So going up for Devontae this week, I don't find that too crazy. So I like playing Devontae. I feel like even at 30% ownership, you got to go for it. Those slate breakers, you got to have them. I love DK this week. Everyone's scared of Jalen Ramsey, but DK is probably the Calvin Johnson of our era. So Jalen might be good, but DK is that good too.
Just a quick note on that. Jalen's playing in the slot. He's not going to be shadowing DK.
So he doesn't. So he doesn't play in the slot. He plays this position that they call it this like star position. So he's either going to play on the outside if it's a single receiver side. If it's two or more receivers to that side, he almost plays like a strong safety position over the top of the slot. And he looks and hunts for interceptions and has his eyes in the backfield and constantly gets burned deep. I mean,
guess what? Russell Wilson is going to gain an extra 3 to 4 seconds back there moving around, and it's going to create things. So look at this. So the Rams played the Dolphins, and the Dolphins put up 28 points, and a lot of that was through like special teams and defense and all that good stuff. But They lost to the Dolphins. They played the Bears, which have a terrible offense. The Niners, which had no offense. The Potatoes had no offense. The Giants, no offense. I mean, they are
makes me
complete
laugh
frauds.
every time.
It's great, right? I feel like they should really change it. So I'm like on DK, Lockett, Russ. I'm going all in, especially under 10% owned in a GPP in the Millie lineup. Like I love it.
And I do love the fact that they kind of laid a little, I mean, not really an egg. They still put up like 28 points or something last week. But
Russ hasn't looked great, right? Like he had those 3 interceptions last week. He had 3 interceptions 2 weeks ago. So people are going, I don't know.
Yeah.
And if Carson comes back this week, it's only going to make me love it more. It's only going to open more in the passing game. So I'm really hoping they do get Carson back this week. So see about that. One person I really like this week is Terry McLaurin. And you guys know me. If you guys have been listening, I'm not the biggest fan of Terry McLaurin, not because of him, because he is absolutely amazing. But no offensive line, no quarterback, can't do anything. Well, the Lions defense and their cornerbacks are absolutely horrendous. And Scary Terry is going to get you 8 catches for over 100 yards. You just got to hope he plugs one into the end zone, honestly. So I think McLaurin's got a big game ahead of him. On the backside of the Seattle game, I really like, Bob Woods. Down at 6,600. So I want to play a lot of Seattle with Los Angeles, maybe go down to running back. Some guys I want to go down for. I really like Evans and Godwin this week for the Bucks. And I'll get on Tom Brady, but I just feel like after laying that dud last week, a lot of people are going to be off of them. I just don't see them doing 2 duds in a row, especially against a very susceptible Carolina Panthers defense. So I really like Evans and Godwin at 6,300 and 6,000 this week. I mean, that's cheap. Another person I like is Brandon Cooks at 5,600. He's gotten 10 targets a game for 3 games in a row. And I know he only had 3 catches last week, and he got our hopes up in the first quarter. But Brandon Cooks, if he just converts another 3 of those catches, I mean, he's one of the top receivers on the slate at 5,600. Going down, my favorite players are Jakeem Grant for the Miami Dolphins, $3,000. Preston Williams went on the IR this week. So they got Devontae Parker. Tua is starting to feel it. And honestly, even when both receivers were in, they just love giving Grant the ball, right? They traded Isaiah Ford, 2 or 3 weeks ago. Like they chose Grant's their guy. He's the return specialist. He's their slot guy. Now Preston Williams is out. Grant at 3,000, sign me up for that. My other cheap guy is KJ Hamler for Denver. He got 10 targets last week. He's healthy. They're starting to give him the ball and get him involved, and he's going against the Raiders at 3,800. If he even catches 5 balls and goes for 50 yards, he's technically getting us our money, right? So I'm going to have a lot of Hamler and Grant and going up at running back and getting my guys like DK, getting my guys like Devante and Russ, and really stacking my lineups. That's what I'm thinking.
Cool.
What do you think, Ben?
Yeah, I'll rock it. I will have some Adams, obviously, but I'm not going to have a lot of him. He's going to be the line I draw in the sand this week. I never love playing super high, expensive receivers that are also like mega chalk. I know what he's been doing is like unprecedented, Michael Thomas type stuff from what we've seen, but for me, like, especially with a healthy Jones, like there's a lot of avenues with Lazard coming back that he gets sniped for scores, or they end up just absolutely smoking the Jaguars here. There's just too many paths for me that like he puts up 20 points, which is great, right? Like that's a good day for a receiver, but at 9K, man, he's got to smash like 36, 40 points. Like I know he's been doing it and he's in a good matchup, but to me, I think there's avenues for him to, when I say bust, 15, 20 points or something like that. And I think there's guys like Hopkins and DK that could very easily run with him, and keep pace this week. So I'll save the 1,400. And I'm going to go Hopkins DK there. That's kind of the line I'm just going to draw in terms of ownership goes, but I like Hopkins and DK up top. I do have some interest, obviously Keenan Allen. I like Scary Terry as well. I'll lean Bob Woods as well, Joe, with Cooper Kupp a little bit injured. If I'm going to play Seattle, though, I'd like, a few full game stacks where I can bring back Kupp and Woods and just go all in on that thing. So I'll definitely do some of that. Judy, I know you mentioned KJ Hamler. Judy has been playing pretty lights out for him the last couple of weeks. Him and Locke seem to have that connection going already. So against the Raiders, like at 5,600, I'll have a lot of Judy.
Yeah, and the Raiders, they're not going to be like really missing anyone this week, but I feel like half their team is on the injury report.
Yeah, it
the
doesn't
Raiders
matter.
are just not healthy right now, so
and their corners aren't
not
good
great
to
for
begin
that
with.
bad defense.
So, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I like Judy. Cooks, you mentioned. I'll have a little Mike Williams and John Brown down there in the low fives. A sneaky guy that I
John
do
Brown,
like.
that is a.
Johnny
I
Brown,
went right. I brushed right by him.
He had a lot of targets last week. He's priced up a little bit more, but in that game again, that's supposed to possibly shoot out in the desert. Give me some John Brown. And then a few guys I like just way down low. Curtis Samuel has been like their utility guy in Carolina the last couple of weeks, and with McCaffrey out, like at 900, like he doesn't need a lot to pay off here. So.
They give them those weird red zone reverses and wildcat, and they do all those weird things with them.
So that for me is another reason why it's okay to fade Davis, because earlier in the year he was still hurt, and he didn't play in the Tampa Bay game earlier.
Yeah, Samuel snipes in the red zone, dude.
So they actively design plays to get him out on the edge to throw those like quick screens and those dump offs to him. Like they're looking for ways to get him the ball when McCaffrey is not in, and even when McCaffrey is in, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Davis basically just disappeared. He's an explosive player. I mean, Mike Davis just is not an explosive player. Like he had some good games earlier this year, right? But I think that's a good call, man.
Yeah. So I like him a lot. A few guys that I like just down low. Manuel Sanders has been pretty vocal about a revenge game here versus the Niners, who sent him off to New Orleans. They're going to put up points. Emmanuel Sanders, I'm fine with down there. Jalen Reagor, the first rounder for the Eagles, is back. This is going to be his second week after the bye, playing. And again, the Eagles are getting healthy, right? He is their burner home run guy. At 4,200, you don't need a whole lot to break your way there. And then the last guy I like, and this is part of the reason why, again, I'm fading Adams, is because you have guys like Allen Lazard, Robert Tonyan, Aaron Jones. Like there's mouths there now that are coming back to feed. So it's probably still going to be the Devante show, but there is a chance, like everybody's open versus the Jaguars. So Aaron doesn't have to just throw it to one guy. So,
Jaguars, without a doubt, the worst pass defense in the NFL.
Probably.
Yeah. So going through some guys that you guys didn't mention that I'm gonna have quite a bit of. I don't know why, but Keenan Allen they just seem to not. I don't know why he's priced at $7,100. He's getting volume
with Hopkins and DK.
He should be at least 77 with Hopkins, 78, and like I get it. Okay, 7,100. Like, okay, like every week, 28, 21, 25, 10, 14, 34, 16, and 7.7 was week 1, and that was his worst game of the year, right?
I was with Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. So he's got Justin Herbert. They're going to be throwing the ball. Miami's got a decent defense, right? But I mean, they're going to have to throw the ball. Miami's got a much better run defense than a lot of people think. So they're going to have to throw the ball this week in order to be competitive in that game. I like him. I love the Bills this week. Just give me all of the Bills. John Brown, Cole Beasley, Stephon Diggs. You can mix and match, right? I mean, they're going to throw the ball a lot. Josh Allen's going to be running the ball a lot. I mean, it's going to be nice weather. It's indoors in Arizona, so throw the ball around all you want to.
So, and Budda Baker, which has been their highlight player of that defense this season, hasn't practiced the last 2 days. So it'll be interesting to see what his designation is tomorrow and see if he's actually playing this week. Because if Budda Baker's out, then, I mean, even with Budda Baker in, I'm going all in on Buffalo. Yeah. You take him out, it's only going to multiply it.
Yeah, and then people were I guess not happy with Diggs last week, even though he got 24 points, and his price went up $100 and is going to be in a better matchup now. Like, I don't know. I mean, this is the same game that we just saw. DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett go absolutely bonkers a few weeks ago. So okay, fire it up. The Bills like to throw the ball. I mean, I like Metcalf. I like Hopkins. I mean, I agree with you, Vin, with the Adams thing. I'm going to have him, but I'm basically going to keep him in my full stacks, right? So, like, one of the ways that you can dilute ownership is if you just do a full game stack. So, you know, because the amount of people that are going to have Adams, okay, 25 to 30% of people might have him, right? But 25 to 30% of people are not going to stack him with Rodgers, Lazard, and then like run it back the other way with somebody too, right?
Yeah.
They're just not going to do that. So you can dilute ownership by using a game stack. So that's really the only spot I'm going to have him, because like Keenan Allen, Stephon Diggs, and then, you know, Nuke, who I think a lot of people are going to be off Hopkins. I mean, his ownership's, you know, 14, 15%, but you know, a lot of people, he didn't do much last week, but if you take a look, and I went back and watched that game, he did draw 3 deep pass interference penalties, right? So he gained almost like 130 yards off of 3 pass interference penalties. That is not going to show up anywhere, right? But 2 of them, when you watch the film, are like, oh my God, he was going to catch it. Like the guy had to interfere with him, or he was going to be toast.
In 2 of his last 4 games, he's gone 28. You know,
exactly.
So, like, that's what I was saying about Adams. Like, DeAndre can hold, you know, pace with Devante.
Yeah.
Like any game.
And this week, it ties the cheapest he's been all year, right? He was 77. He was 7,700 in week 2. He hasn't been this low since then. So that 3 catch for 30 yard, the DraftKings pricing algorithm dropped him down. And if he's only going to be 13, 14%, just, I mean, sign me up for him.
Mm-hmm.
Going down a little bit more, I like the game stack with Seattle and in the Rams. That's already been well established. I mean, I think I'm going to get exposure to 1 or 2 of the Pittsburgh wide receivers. They're very fairly priced this week because of the dud that they put up last weekend. But like Claypool at 5,100, Deontay Johnson at 5,600, those are the 2 guys that I have the most interest in. I think Claypool would be the number 1 for me. Deontay Johnson would be number 2. Going down a little bit more, if Galladay plays this week, I actually like him quite a bit. The potatoes have
great.
No, it's not looking great. Which means that, you know, my guy Marvin Hall, you know, is going to be back in at 3,500. Didn't have a great game last week, right? But, you know, 3 for 28. He didn't get me a 0, right? So $3,500.
Yeah, it was a 3,500. You know.
Yeah, he was 3,400 last week. I mean, I don't know why they raised his price $1, but okay. A guy that is, you know, he was on the COVID list last week, and I think a lot of people forgot that, was Brandon Ayuk. Debo's not going to play. They're going to give him a ton of touches again. He's probably going to get 12 to 13 touches. A couple of those are going to be rushing attempts, you know, probably 8 to 9 targets. So 5,700. I mean, the Niners are obviously going to be down in this game. He's the guy that I like the best if I'm going to Niners. T. Higgins, I have some interest in. I mean, he's just getting the ball a lot. He's their number 1 wide receiver. I mean, it is what it is, right? Dropping down more, I have a lot of interest in the Carolina wide receivers. I like the Samuel call, Vin. I think DJ Moore's in a pretty good spot they're going to have to huck it deep. He's a guy that's been not doing great. That's going to be a dart throw. He could get you 3 points like he did last week, or he could get you 25 like he did a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I just think Samuel's kind of stealing a little bit of his role. You know, like he's performing, he's playing well. Like Matt Rule is, you know.
Well, he's stealing touches, right? He's just taking touches. He's taking touches away in any kind of the short intermediate area.
But with McCaffrey back gone, they're going to have to make some explosive plays. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I think Joe's spot on with how this game's going to go. I think they're going to be down, and I think that they're going to need to be throwing the ball, right?
Yep.
Cole Beasley, I mentioned him already, 4,700. I think that's a great spot. Arizona has a really, really tough time with people in the middle of the field. And then especially if Budda Baker, their safety is going to be out. He's the one who really patrols the middle of the field. So that's where it's going to be for me. if Lazard's active, I definitely want to get some Lazard. And then another guy in the Niners I think you can go back to is Richie James at 4,000. Massive game last week. Played really well. Didn't drop much. I think they'll go back to him this week. I like Joe's call of Hamler, but my guy, if I'm going all the way down there, is either going to be Hall or I'm going to have some Andy Isabella this week too in my Arizona stacks.
Dig it deep.
Damn.
All right. Sweet. Let's boomerang it around. Jim, tight ends.
Okay.
I did not see much here, so good luck.
So, I mean, there's just not a lot here, right?
Like, we kind of forgot about quarterbacks.
Okay, yeah.
We
already kind of covered it, but we gotta.
No. I was gonna bring it back with them and hit all the.
Okay, that's fine. Let's finish up with quarterbacks. We'll hit tight ends real quick.
You got it.
This is gonna be a pretty quick one. There's just not a lot there, right?
No.
So you got Waller coming in at like 14-15%. You got Dallas Goedert around 12%, and then from there like Fant at 10%. There's just not a lot of people there. I like Noah Fant. I like the price. Another guy that's coming back off injury that's going to be active this week is Austin Hooper. The Texans are actually 32nd in the league, so dead last in short yardage passing. And that's Austin Hooper is going to be the guy. I think they're going to be able to move the ball a little bit. This game clearly because the Texans defense is absolutely terrible. We saw what Jake Luton did to them last week. So give me all that. But the guy is so bad. My number one play at the tight end spot this week, the guy I'm going to have the most of is Evan Ingram. They're just continuously finding ways to try and get him the ball. 4,300 is a fair price. I don't know why his price didn't go up, especially on a slate where we don't have Travis Kelce and that George Kittle is on IR. Like, that's great that the DraftKings algorithm factored in Kittle at his proper price, but he's on IR. Like, he's out for the rest of the year. Like, they shouldn't even be pricing him in the algorithm anymore. And Evan Ingram is a guy who's got 10 targets last week, right?
He got 10 targets the week before, and he got 9 targets the week before that.
So, like, who else are they throwing the ball to, right? Like,
Danny Dimes likes to throw it to defenders, apparently. But other than that, there's nobody.
So look, I'm not really targeting any one specific tight end this week. It's really going to be of who fits in my lineup. But Ingram's a guy that I'll probably look to go put in before I fill out other positions. From there, it's really just going to depend on like a pricing for me. Like, there's really cheap punts at wide receiver that I can get 4 to 5 points off of, like guys like Marvin Hall. So I'm probably not going to be dropping real far down at tight end this week. Like, Jordan Reed, I have some interest in maybe, but I just don't know. So, it's Evan Ingram and then maybe sprinkle some other guys in from there, but that's about it for me.
Joe.
Yeah, same. I only got 4 guys I'm on this week, and it's Fant at the top at 4,900. Again, that's an absolute smash spot. Yeah, he re-aggravated his ankle last week, but he came back into the game. Hasn't missed a practice this week. He's good. He's good to go. The Raiders is not looking good. Corey Littleton got put on the COVID list this week. He has not been good this year, but he is their pass covering linebacker. So Fant he's just in a smash spot. He could really break the slate at tight end this week. My next guy is Ingram. Again, 10 targets a game. If Danny Dimes can somehow just not throw to defenders or fumble the ball and actually run an offense like an NFL quarterback, Ingram is my guy. Another guy I love is Gronk at 4,800, and I'll get on that. I just really like the Bucks matchup this week. I'm all about the Bucks this week. I think they're going to make a big comeback based off of their poor performance last week, which didn't show what team they were. If you've been watching them all year, they're a lot better of a team than that, especially on offense, and I think they're going to get it together.
They just laid a dud last week.
It just wasn't good. And guys like Arians and Brady, this week they came into practice and got their shit together, So I really like Gronk, and then going down for Hooper. Again, the Browns, Njoku's not going to play. They're literally burying him on the bench on purpose. They might, who's the other guy? Harrison Bryant. They might throw him in a little bit, but again, Hooper's their guy, right? So. Yeah. Especially in the red zones, and Houston's defense is just bad. again, gluten free killed him last week. So
gluten free.
I'm there with you. I will do my best. I say this every week, but it just turns out to a position I need to pay down at. But if I can get to Waller, I think it's a way to be a little different with that. But I'm with you guys. Ingram and Goddard in the 4s. And I like Noah Fant as well. I do like that Albert O is on the IR now. Like, so all those targets are going to go Fant's way, barring he doesn't get hurt again. So I dig that. And I will be having some Jordan Reed for sure at 3,500. The Niners brought him back last week, and they didn't really use him against the Saints. They need weapons in the worst kind of way. So even if he's only playing like passing downs, he's still, when healthy, a really, really good player. So at 3,500, 3-4 catches. And if he could pop one in, like, you're in a similar situation to where we were with Irv last week, where, you're so far ahead of the game. So that's where I'm at. So quarterbacks, who wants to lead this party off?
I'll lead it off. I have some guys that I like. I mean, I think we kind of talked about it. I think my favorite quarterback situation on both sides that I'm going to have equal amount of is Russ and then Jared Goff on the other side. I mean, they're going to have to throw the ball a ton. And I mean, a couple weeks ago, Goff threw the ball like 60 times. I mean, like for only $6,500, I mean, that's something that is
both
like,
of Seattle's corners are still out this week. They won't be playing. They have not made a practice so far this week. They've missed the last 3 weeks, which is, only making that Seattle defense worse. And Jamal Adams is back, but again, one safety isn't going to change the passing game. Exactly. He's
I mean,
down on the run.
He's grading out as one of the worst pass coverage guys in the league right now.
Mm-hmm.
So
he just stays in the box and he likes to,
exactly.
He likes to crack people. So he doesn't scare me at all. That Seattle defense is fucking terrible. And if you look at their injury report, it's worse than the Raiders. They have over 20 guys on their injury report this week.
I know, it's crazy. So like those
guy.
Yeah, I mean, Goff is my guy if I'm going down a little bit.
Who'd you like up top?
So up top, I like Murray. I can't, I mean, he's just running the ball so much. Again, that slob Jeff Mans, Murray can never be a viable top 12 quarterback. Well, okay. Well, he just like rips people's face off every week and just runs for all over the place. I mean, he continues to do it, and he's going to do the same thing that Russ did last week against the Bills. So fantastic, right? Like, I mean, why not just go right back to that? I like Josh Allen. And then going back down, I'm going back down to Tua.
Yep.
So like,
gotta do my Miami stack again.
Joe, it's so cheap. If you stack Tua, Grant, and Devontae Parker, I mean, it's ridiculous how cheap that stack is.
You can get it. You can get it in Metcalf. You can maybe get in Adams. You can get it in Jones. I mean, it's insane.
You can get Kamara and Hopkins in the same lineup. I've got a Tua stack right now that I've got Kamara, Hopkins, and Diggs all in, right? So like, it just opens so much up for you. I like the Deshaun Watson stat. I mean, they're just going to be playing from behind. The only thing that scares me a little bit about that is that like the Browns just play so slowly, and they're going to try and run the ball and just bleed the clock because Baker's fucking terrible. So like, that's their path to victory. It's not getting in a shootout. So that's the only thing that gives me a little bit of pause there, but I'm going to have a little bit of him. And then, I'm going to have Herbert on this other side of that Miami game. We talked about it before. I think that game's going to be a pretty good shootout. I like pairing Herbert with Keenan Allen, and then like even maybe double stacking with Mike Williams and then running back with, Devontae Parker, right? Or if you want to throw Grant in there too. Gesicki saw some targets, so like if that's a way you want to get different at tight end, maybe. But those are the main guys. I think Allen, Murray, and then the Seattle Russ and then Goff are going to be my top 4 just from those 2 games. I think there's really no way you can go wrong with those guys.
Yeah. My big thing now at quarterback is, does that quarterback have running potential? If I'm paying up for a quarterback, he automatically has to have running potential, right? So like a guy I don't like playing is like Aaron Rodgers. You look at a game, he has 270 yards and 4 touchdowns, and he gets you 26 points, right? And Jim, you guys talk about it all the time about that quarterback needs to go over 30. And the reality is we need quarterbacks that have potential to actually even quarterback sneak it, get some running touchdowns, you get those extra points wherever you can. So Kyler, Russ, and Allen are my guys this week in the top three. Those guys all have running potential and are in smash spot pass spots. So I will pay up for Kyler, Russ, and Allen, especially with all the areas we can go cheap at. The only guy that I'm going to pick that really stands in the pocket is Tom Brady. And again, he's down to 6,300. I'm not paying up for him. And again, I just really like the Buccaneers stack this week, going with, having Godwin, Evans, Gronk, and different kind of mixtures. I love it. But yeah, I'm gonna have another. Yeah, go ahead.
I, I think this week is the week to play Antonio Brown, 5,500. If I'm gonna play a Brady stack, I would rather play it with Evans and Antonio Brown than Godwin. I mean, Godwin's still coming off that broken finger. If they're just kicking their ass, Antonio Brown's gonna stay in the game the whole time, because I'm sure Arians is just concerned about how long is it going to be till this guy goes off the reservation, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, if they're kicking their ass, they might pull Evans, they might pull Godwin. I don't know. I think it might be kind of a sneaky little $5,500 play there.
Yeah.
To sneak him into. I mean, he's not a guy like I usually play about 12 to like 17 different lineups. He's a guy that I might have in like one or two.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
But
it's just looking at him, and then you look at Godwin at 6,000 or Evans at 6,300. They're not that far off, which is crazy to me. So
they're not.
Antonio Brown's a little hard for me to go to just because he's unproven. Don't really know what his deal is yet. Don't really know what his role is yet. So I'm gonna wait and see mode with Antonio Brown. My last quarterback again, it's Tua. Last week we said it to you guys. This lineup I had 177. Literally, I missed on one guy that really screwed me. But Tua got me 21.5 points. I was able to get McCaffrey and Dalvin in my lineup, 42 and 37 from just two guys. So, and then Devontae Parker and Preston Williams, equaled up to 28 points together. So I'm going to be doing another Tua, Parker, and then Grant this week, which is going to give me more flexibility with Grant down at 3,000 to go really crazy and go up other places. So, GPPs, I'm going to go probably about 30% of my lineups are going to go towards that Miami stack. I'm going to write it again.
Okay.
Guys were under, Tua was under 1% last week. And those receivers were under like 4%, and they're not going up, No. And you got the Chargers traveling to Miami to play them. You got the whole West Coast to East Coast travel. We'll see if that works out this week as the season goes on. So we'll see.
Cool. Yeah, man, I like all the guys up top. I have to narrow this down here, but I like Kyler. Rodgers is playing as efficient as humanly possible. Every game he's above 25 to 30. I also look at it as if you are going to get a piece of the Green Bay game, like Rodgers is going to obviously smash if that happens. So, to not have a piece of him seems a little crazy, but I like Russ and Allen at the top as well. So I got to narrow down those four down to two here by the end of the week. So I'll be working on that. Watson and Herbert, if I'm staying in the middle. I get it. I'm just not a golf guy. And if he's going to be one of the chalkier quarterbacks, there's just so many ways to go on this one this week. So
quarterbacks are never really chalk though.
I get it. No, I hear you. I like the Russ side of that game. I get it.
Yeah, no, Vinny, I'm with you with Goff just for the fact that if this game doesn't go to a shootout, the Rams are in love with running the ball, and McVay is not going away from it. He is going to ride it until he absolutely cannot anymore. They have the most rushing attempts of any team this season.
I also need to see that Cooper Kupp's fully healthy for that to go.
He's going to play. Yeah, he was just limited. He was just resting today.
Yeah, but I mean, shoulder thing or something.
But Vinny, Goff's only going to be 7%. So
I get it. I guess I just look at it as I understand the matchup is awesome. But I'm just going to pay $100 more for Herbert, who's, in my opinion, heads and tails a better quarterback than Jared Goff. And he's in a decent spot, and he's firing it all over the field. the proof's in the pudding. Like the last 4 weeks, Goff has not even hit 20 points, or he's hit it once, So
Fair enough.
I don't know. Something just seems off about that one. Like that's this, you're playing matchup versus best player, and that just makes me a little bit like, I seem to get burned by that all the time. I don't know. But I'm going to look more into that. I'm with you on Brady. However, I'm leaning towards playing Brady, Tom Brady naked, which I know everybody loves, but I don't know who it's going to, but I do know like Brady got humiliated on national television last Sunday night, and he's going to come out and blast Carolina.
He doesn't do great with that.
And this week at practice, again, Arians is. I think Arians is the same way. I think though this week the Bucks. I mean, if they didn't get their shit together this week, they're
putting up. I think 40 plus points on Sunday. I just don't know who it's going to, especially the touchdowns. I also like that this is now the second week, or like a week of practice after the Antonio Brown thing. Like they got a chance to like just work some stuff out. No one adjusts better than Brady in the league, so. Dude, at 6,300, like he opens a lot of doors for you, and they don't really have a great running game. They set a record last week for 4 runs or something like that. So,
well, I mean,
I know they're going to do more, but like,
no, Carolina's run defense is not good. I mean, they're going to run the ball well, but all it's going to do is help Brady.
Yeah.
I mean, the Saints got to just pin their ears back last week.
For sure. Yeah. So, that's where I'm mainly going to be going. There's 2 guys down way low if I decide to get weird, that I'm considering. And that's, I know he's not probably a great quarterback, but Drew Lock versus the Raiders.
I think
that's awesome, Vinny. That's awesome.
Like he's 5,500, dude. He gets you like, I think if you can do like a Drew Lock, like that helps you again get off of Mike Davis. Like that, there's different ways to do that. Again, he's got to have a pretty mighty game to keep up with Kyler, Rodgers, Allen, Russ, all those, but he just opens a lot of doors, man, and a great matchup as well. So,
yeah, I mean, look, they're in a nice playing environment, nice throwing environment indoor in Las Vegas. I have one lineup with Locke already, and it's a game stack with Judy and Fant, and then running it back with Waller. And in that lineup, I get Jones and Kamara, right?
Yeah.
So like,
that's awesome. And you could probably squeeze it out. I'm guessing if you wanted to even go like Jones Adams, or I mean, you could get like creative there. Adams stretches it a little, but you could probably go DK and Jones, or whatever.
Yeah, you can get creative.
You can certainly get creative, and I think that's one that we're just going to have to continuously look at every week. Like a lot of the times, I don't think Drew Lock's a good quarterback, but that doesn't really matter in fantasy, right? If he's going to put up 22 to 33 points a game, and he's going to be priced at 5,600. Like that's something you just have to consider playing every week. And again, like, does Drew Lock have a better choice of outscoring Mike Adams or Mike Davis? Yeah, yes. I think he's got a legitimate shot at outscoring Mike Davis, right?
Denver's going to be down this week. Their defense is not great. The Raiders' offense is actually pretty damn decent.
Yeah,
what I like for fantasy, but the Raiders score points.
Yeah.
And they just scored in weird ways, so we just hate him for fantasy. But Drew Lock's going to be coming from behind here.
For sure. And I look at it like you guys like Tua. I think Tua is going to be a really good quarterback. Like, I don't think they need him or going to ask him to huck it around 40, 50 times, whereas Denver, doesn't really have a choice. So I think,
if they had Gaskin playing a running back that they really trust, I mean, they have just like horrible running backs, right? Like Breida might play this week, but he's highly questionable.
Yeah.
And I mean, I watched Breida, we all watched Breida for the last few years, and like, he's not anything special, right? Yep. So, I think that's a guy that like, we're just going to have to get to, and the Waller is the nice, easy run back option there, because like, that's basically the only thing that you can count on with the Raiders. You can't even run it back with Josh Jacobs. Like, I want to play Josh Jacobs, but the Raiders just keep running the ball with they keep giving Devontae Booker.
They give the ball to everybody.
I'm like, what are you doing, dude?
Alec Ingold, backup tight ends. I mean, they give it to everybody.
Just give me the Waller, bring that. But yeah, I'm considering.
So my only argument with the lock and Tua thing, Vinny, is that Tua last week, I was kind of scared of his running game because of this whole hip thing. Mm-hmm. Well, he did not hold back at all. He ran seven times and he looked really athletic. So 7 carries for 35 yards. He can get you that bootleg goal line touchdown and something like that. So that's why I like Tua more. Again, I'm trying to lean towards the running guys. That's just
not about that. It's that they were in a fairly somewhat shootout last week, 34-31. He was 20 of 28, super efficient, 2 touchdowns. That's who Tua is. Right here, at this point in his career, he is not going to go throw it 50 times on Sunday.
And this is where I think we're going to disagree a little bit. I think they cut Tua loose, and they kind of proved it last week with him running the ball. And I just think they're going to hand him the ball now.
You may be right. Until I see it, I don't think that's what they brought Tua in for. I was listening to Colin Cowherd this week, and he actually had a really good point that I think the Dolphins looked at this team and said, look how bad the division is. We got a shot at, to make the playoffs here. Fitzpatrick makes too many mistakes. Tua is going to be just the more efficient guy who can get us there and get us safely.
So ownership, they're both about the same. Drew Lock 2 to 3%, Tua 3 to 4%. There's nothing really there. I think I'm going to have a pretty equal amount of both of them.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have both of them.
I'm telling you one guy real quick, though, that I like more than Lock that I was saving, that he's going to probably be nothing.
Oh, okay.
Maybe talk me out of him, but I'm going back to Joey B. I think Pittsburgh is going to light the shit out of the Bengals on Sunday. He is shown he will throw it 50, 60 times. He's going to get the ball in.
I agree with that, Vinny. I don't know if they're going to be able to have the ball enough for him to throw the ball 50 to 60 times.
I think coming out and hitting, Roethlisberger's just throwing. I
don't think he's going to.
Yeah. I think the game flow. I don't think he's going to. You're right, Vinny. But yeah, the game flow scares the shit out of me. But you're right. He is going to throw the ball as many times as humanly possible.
He's somebody I have as a maybe right now. But for $100 or $200 less, I can go down to Drew Lock, who is maybe going to throw the ball 45 times.
Yeah,
40 times. Has some rushing upside. Same with Tua. Tua has some rushing upside as to where I just think this week I want to go back to Burrow, but I think that the Steelers are just going to come out and just run the ball and play the clock game. And
they could.
And
I'm looking at it if Mixon was playing, there's no way I'd play this. But Gio's not going to do anything against the Pittsburgh run defense.
I think
he's going to be in shotgun all day.
I think the biggest problem is that you could run into a situation like Goff was. It's the same thing as your argument against Goff. I think that Burrow could throw the ball for 48 or 50 times and throw for 300 yards, but have 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions and maybe a fumble and only get 16 or 17 points. And I don't know if he has, we're talking about winning GPPs. I think Burrow's a pretty good cash game quarterback this week, but I just don't think he has the ceiling. And in order to win a GPP, you really have to get 25, probably closer to 30 from your quarterback. And if I can spend $100 or $200 less and get there, I'll probably do that.
Yeah, and that's where I'm just looking at. I thought Tua had a really good game last week, and he put up 21. And Burrow's gone over 28 twice this season, so he's got it in him. I'm just thinking, again, hopefully Pittsburgh, even if he throws a pick 6 and they hit Juju or Claypool on a 60-yard touchdown, it's 14-0 in the first quarter. It's sweet. They're just going to go shotgun, air it out. So that's all. I mean, he's definitely not a core play. He's just somebody that I'm kind of intrigued about, but
I like it.
Last few things, dude.
Defense.
I have 3 defenses written down here, and I don't know where to go.
Dude, I'm struggling on defense.
I have the Packers. Jake Luton is not a good quarterback. Don't play him again. He's got people have film on him.
Wait, Joe, you played him last week?
No. Absolutely not. Vinny was all about playing Luton last week.
Oh no!
Don't throw me into that. Don't throw me into that.
I'm sorry.
There's film on there, and then they also
Throw my name in the trash.
Dude, he also got a 75-yard touchdown on like the second play of the game when the corner for Houston forgot to run with the receiver. So it's like, let's just slow down a little there. The Packers are gonna smoke this guy. I have the Packers. I have the Saints. I just don't think the Niners have a lot in the tank, dude. Like on the road, there's not much there for them. And then the potatoes. That's where I'm going right now. I
potatoes.
Talk me on the more
potatoes.
So I'll go some different areas that you didn't go to. If I'm gonna go all the way down, I know we were just saying how we like Tua and everything like that, but he is a young quarterback. He is going to be prone to make some like poor mistakes and have some turnovers, I think. So, I mean, I don't hate the Chargers at 2,800. If Bosa plays. If Bosa does not play, then that's completely out the window for me.
Because he missed because of concussion last week, right?
I know, but he's still in the protocol. Like he has not been cleared yet. So I don't know. Maybe he's just a little bitch and like, who knows? But like, I mean, I don't know, man. I like that play. I kind of like the Broncos against the Raiders. I mean, Derek Carr hasn't thrown some of those like lovely Derek Carr interceptions lately. And like, those are just going to come at some point.
If this game was in Denver, I'd be on that. But being that it's in Vegas,
I don't really care.
They just run that really highly efficient West Coast offense that's like, don't let your quarterback make mistakes. And
I think my highest owned defense is probably going to be the Saints. They're at the right price, right? They're at home. Niners get Trent Williams back, so that'll help their pass blocking a little bit. But again, no Kittle, right? If Mostert was going to be active again this week, the Niners offensive line is best at run blocking, and they would just run the ball with Mostert 25-30 times, right? But I don't think he's coming back this week. I don't mind the potatoes. If I'm gonna go pay up, I think I like the Eagles going against the Giants. I mean, Danny Dimes, he's gonna put up points, right? But he just turns the ball over so fucking much, like it's crazy. Like, so for me to just kind of like tie a bow on my defenses, it's gonna be the Chargers if Bosa plays, the Saints, and then if I'm paying up, I'm going to go to the Eagles, and all of those correlate well with running backs that I want to play. I like the Packers too, but I don't know. That's just
obviously like paying up for like if I'm paying up for defense, I feel like it's pretty obvious. I'm not even going to talk about it, but the only teams I'm going to go down for, I feel like it's the Dolphins. The Chargers, Herbert's a fucking baller, dude. But the Dolphins have just been so hot lately. They've been playing so well. The defense is playing so well. I mean, they shut the Rams down last week. They have another LA team flying out to them for a second week in a row. I do like the Dolphins at 2,800 to maybe make some noise there. Another team I like is the Giants against Philly. I know Philly's getting healthy, but again, the Giants defense has also been just pretty hot lately. They don't really give up that many points. 25 points is the most they gave up 2 weeks ago against Tampa. They held Philly to like 20 points a couple weeks ago and ended up getting 5 points, right? So they got 2 times their salary. So I do like the Giants this week, potential low owned, but honestly, my defense this week, it might be a different defense in every single lineup I put together. Just whatever.
Exactly. It's going to be this is a week where there's nothing down low that I love. There's nothing up high that I love. That's literally going to be the last position I fill out in all my lineups, and I'm going to try and correlate it with, if it happens to work out, I like to do the running back and defense correlation there. Cause like if you get a turnover, in the red zone or something, most likely, your running back's going to turn around and get the ball. So the potatoes is a nice one for that. Cause I like Gibson. Right. But I'm just going to plug in whoever fits. Like, I really don't care. I'm shocked to see that the Lions defense is like garnering some ownership. I don't know.
Potatoes, man. So
exactly. He doesn't really turn the ball over that much. He's
conservative. And honestly though, But the big play, honestly, is the potatoes on defense because Galladay probably not going to play this week. Hawkinson's hasn't practiced yet. We'll see if he plays this week. If Hawkinson misses too with Galladay, Stafford's just a sitting duck.
Just
He's going to be hucking,
just
chucking it,
spin a-
throwing pigs, getting hit. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
just
gonna be a disaster.
spin a dice on defense.
So Hawkinson is going to play.
Okay.
He just rested. He wasn't on the injury report Tuesday. He popped up on the injury report today because he didn't practice because of a sore toe. I mean, whatever, dude.
That's
He's gonna play.
fake.
Yeah, he
Got
just
STD
didn't want
or
to fucking
something.
practice.
All right. Final.
But yeah,
sneaky play of the week. Who's a guy that could go ballistic or a stack that we have not really hit on that is just kind of intriguing to you?
I think we've hit on like most of the stacks that like I really like.
I got
my
one.
big guy that you guys aren't on as much, honestly, and it goes with the same rhetoric you guys are saying with the Denver game. It's Hamler at 3,800. You know, he is their deep shot. Vinny, you're saying point with Jalen Rieger on Philly. That's Hamler for Denver. And if Locke's going to throw the ball 45 times in a dome, I got to have some Hamler. And 10 targets last week, that's not a mistake. So,
all right.
I really like Hamler this week.
I have a sneaky stack for you, Vin. It's a little expensive, but it's not something that I don't think anyone's going to play this week. And you can do it with two different people at the wide receiver position, but Drew Brees, Kamara, and then either Thomas or Sanders. You could run it back with Ayuk. I think that's going to be one that I'm probably going to play at least one. No one's talking about it. No one's talking about Michael Thomas. And I mean, I know it's his second week back and everything like that. He's only $7,400 and the Niners can't cover anything. So
like
that's my sneaky stack of the week.
One that I'm just going to leave you guys on. I touched on it with Miles Sanders. Do not sleep on Philly. Getting healthy. They're getting their line back. They're getting weapons back. They've held on, and there's no one taking that division. Like I think Philly realizes they can just string together a few wins. Especially
you call like a Miles Sanders like 35, 40-point game. Is that what I'm hearing here?
No, not a Miles Sanders. Like I'm saying, like don't be surprised if like Wentz has like a huge game, like a Wentz, Miles Sanders, bring it back with like a Rieger.
Is Alshon Jeffrey coming back this week too? I heard rumors
he might be coming back. So that's what I'm saying. Like a Wentz, Rieger, and Goddard. That's talk about a cheap stack that could open a lot of doors for you too. So. That's one that's been weighing on me, but
you know what's a weird stack that like I think that in that game, Vinny, that I might rather do is like Wentz, Sanders, and Goddard.
Mm-hmm.
No receiver. It's not something that like a lot of people typically do or people like typically advise to do. Right? It's just kind of like a weird random thing, but like I don't know. I think Goddard's going to get going a little bit this week. We saw what
I do too, and I like the Rieger call because that he is the next Deshaun Jackson for them. Like everyone had no problem playing, but Deshaun Jackson, and he would catch 3 balls for 120 yards and a touchdown. You could 4,200.
You could really get crazy and do all 4 of them.
You could easily,
and I think
if you want to bring it back with an Ingram, like you mentioned, like that's what I'm saying. I think that game is a little like sneaky there.
Yeah, I don't know if there's another bring back option aside from Ingram. I don't really like Slayton a whole lot. He's basically disappeared. I don't know. Shepard has looked good, but he's like banged up again. I don't know. I think it's just Ingram if you're gonna stack them.
Yeah,
but
I don't trust Danny Dimes at all.
And again, Wentz
his name is sarcastic at this point.
Wentz is just under that 6K, a guy that he does have 25, 30-point potential if, he's
for sure.
So,
for sure.
Because he can light it up 40, 45 passes as well.
So maybe that's my low pay down guy over Burrow and Locke. So we'll just have to wait and see. But
I like it.
All right, boys.
All right.
Good
luck, guys.
Later.
See you later.
Later.